graphic said, this is a continuation of what to do if you are coming out of a very long relationship and you are trying to get your feet wet in the dating pool and you're looking for, a new life partner. I was having technical difficulties with my memory card earlier, so I'm still driving. So hopefully this video doesn't get cut off like the last one. So the last point that I was on was what did I do after I got divorced the first time? So what I did after the paperwork was signed and we were waiting for the courts to sign off on their portion, and I was as non-committed as I had ever been for 6.5, 7 years. I wrote down a very long list of what I needed, what I wanted, what I could not tolerate, and what I would not deal with. This is me as a person that's not attached to anyone else outside of my child, because at that point I only had one child, and it was needs, wants, will not tolerate, will not deal with, just the stark ends of my spectrum of if someone starts to cause me to get, heart palpitations, I'm going to go back to this list and I'm going to see if they make the cut. If they do any of the things that I said I couldn't tolerate as a newly single person, do I really want to budge on those? And at the tail end of it, and I'm not going to lie, that thing was 7-8 pages long, because I am a very detail-oriented person, and I never wanted to find myself in another bad situation, and so I made that thing very precise. And at the tail end of it, I made a little agreement with myself, and I said, you know what, I have to have at least half of the positives that are on this thing. And I didn't put what I wouldn't deal with as far as a quarter to half as far as the will not tolerate, things like that. I left that open-ended at the time, not intentionally, I just didn't do that. But I wrote that little reminder at the end of my 7-8 page spiel as a reminder that when I went back to that, which I did go back to it, the moment that I started feeling like I might be treading on having super big feelings for someone, and I went back to it, and I was astounded. I was like, wow, I'm getting everything that I said I wanted. And it's not like I sat there and dwelled on the list. I literally wrote it all down, got it all off my chest, put it in a box because I had to move from Hawaii back to Mississippi, and it sat buried in it sat buried in the other nightstand, because I had 2 nightstands in my room, and it wasn't thought of again until all of a sudden I realized that I was really strongly feeling emotions for the person that I was, starting to date, I guess you would say. So I referred back to it. And he did not meet every single criteria. All the good stuff. He met a fair amount of the good stuff. And so what I did, because I reread my little thing about how I deserve to have at least half of these things, is I was a little cocky. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to say I want 75 to 90% of this stuff. So very matter-of-factly, what I did was I sat him down and I said, look, when I got divorced, I made myself this whole little list. And he was like, wow, this is very inclusive. And I was like, look, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I will not tolerate. And this is what I can't stand. And he sat there and he read through the whole entire thing, and he's like, I'm doing a lot of these. I think I'm doing pretty good. And I said, can you do better? And that was our throwing the cards on the table thing, where it was like, look, I know I've got some quirks and stuff, but can you do better? Can you meet more of my list? And you know what he did? He did. He met more of the stuff on my list, and I'm going to bypass where I'm supposed to be going, because I'm going to drive just a little bit longer just so I can get a little bit more of this video in. And so he made true on that, and he was a great husband. husband until the day he wasn't. And till my life blew up and I found out that he wasn't as great of a husband as I thought he was. But in those moments, and for this example, and I think it still rings true, because, you know, when I got divorced from him, I did the same thing. When I was in excess of emotion of hating men and just angry, so very, very, very angry with men and just, oh, I can't believe this, and da-da-da-da-da, and grr, and I added on. I made an addendum to that thing, and I didn't remove anything. I just added and added and added and added and added, and I was very vocal with my now husband about it. And when I got to the point of having strong feelings for him, I sat him down and I said, look, I really like you a lot, way too much, and I'm not happy to find myself in this excess emotion situation again. But buddy, you know, you're doing a good chunk of this stuff, but can you do better? Because there are people that came before you that messed it up for you, so you gotta be really good. And he's like, wow, this is a lot. And I'm like, it is. I'm a lot of person, and I think I deserve a lot of stuff, as far as, like, you know, all of these varying things that I had on my now very long addendum added agreement for myself. And he did. And you know what? He tries every day to do better than he did. And he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. He fails. He fails a lot. But he doesn't intentionally fail. Sometimes he does intentionally fail. It's like he'll catch himself doing really well, and then he's like, oh crap, I'm doing great at this, so now I gotta, like, not do great at it for a couple days and annoy my wife. But for the most part, he tries really hard to meet the criteria that I've set up and established for myself. And I try really hard because he does not have a list. I would like it if he had a list. I would love it. I've asked him several times to make a list, and when he makes a list, it's like a teeny tiny speck of, like, so basic and so minimal. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I do these things. Like, I need more than this. I need a challenge. And then I guess that's just the difference in personalities. You can say it's a male versus female. I think it's a person versus person thing, because I've known some gentlemen out there, some people out there, unique people that choose to be very detailed or not. It has nothing to do with their gender or their sex. It has everything to do with their personality type. So that's my additional thing that I wanted to add into the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the 5 love languages, and establishing where you are on both of those parameters. I think they're great guidelines. And then just, you know, what Michelle Fixit did through very difficult, trying times in her life. And now I'm talking about myself in the third person, which is awkward. But I think you need to establish that. So once you've done all 3 of these things, you know, and you're really solidly seated on where you want your future to go, you know, make sure you're not carrying any past traumas. And if you are, you need to make sure that you're either working on them, or you're working on desensitizing from them, or you stay busy enough where they're not going to muster themselves up and start presenting problems with a new relationship, because that is not fair to the prospective person in your life. If you're carrying around trauma, I speak as a hypocrite on that. I have a lot of trauma that I carry. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. I'm a very serious person. I'm a very positive person. But don't let this smile fool you. I carry around a lot of pain and a lot of trauma, and I try really hard to know what my hot buttons are. I try really hard to let others know what my hot buttons are, because I don't want them to accidentally push a hot button for me, because I do have PTSD from some things. I don't want them to accidentally push a button and get a bomb. I don't think that's fair. So if you have PTSD, if you have trauma that you're carrying around, you need to know those triggers. You need to know if this is a hot button, I will explode, implode, cry, go boom, whatever. Or if this is a mild thing of like, if this happens, more than 10 times in a week, then I'm going to eventually go boom. You need to know yourself, because how do you expect to have a relationship with someone? And I don't think the perfect person has this stuff going on. It seems like he had a really good situation. I'm very proud of him, at least the way he spoke about everything. But this is a video for him, but it's also could be beneficial to whomever else is listening, because I didn't think that the video I made for a homeless person in a rental vehicle would take off with the views that it has. And so clearly this is not going to be a one-watch video. And if it is, it is. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just driving around. It's not a big deal. Burning gas, a little bit of time. Husband, cat's asleep. Kittens are asleep. And I'm just, driving around, finishing up this because I have people's thoughts in my mind and I'd like to help them. It's one of the things that I like to do. I like to help and I like to fix things. Not everything is helpable. Not everything is fixable. I understand that, but I'm going to give it my biggest try that I can. I also don't have children with me, and so when I don't have children with me, then I can speak more freely. The other thing that we kind of touched base on when we were sitting there talking was, do you want to find someone that's just like you, or do you want to find someone that is opposite of you, or what do you want to find? And my opinions for this go all over the place. My biggest thing, and I'm going to restate it again, is making sure that you're as good of a person as you can be for your circumstances during that time period, which is why I started that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, 5 love languages, my list to myself, which I highly recommend you do to set guidelines for yourself before you have emotions and all the rest of that stuff going on. And the need, the want versus need, I think that's a critical thing as well. But I think if you find someone that's just like you, then it can be good or it can be bad. If you're looking for a long-term relationship and a life partner, you want to find your best friend. It's cliche, it's ridiculous. Everyone says that their significant other or their girlfriend or their boyfriend or whatever is their best friend, because you really should have a good friendship base first. And it's kind of hard to explain my stance on that. I think that when you're exactly the same, you can get bored and you can be in a plateaued existence with that person, and it can become so boring that you don't appreciate it as much as if you have some peaks and valleys. So my recommendation is to find someone that has the same core values as you. If you're still in your childbearing years and you want to have children, you need to make sure that what would happen, and I know, you're trying to date someone, you're not trying to run off and have babies, but you need to also figure out what you want. That should be on your list. If you're at an age where you want to have babies, you don't have babies, you do have babies, you need to know where you stand with that, because that card needs to come out at some point in time with your relationship. Because if one person wants children, one person doesn't want children, why are you two together? Is one going to convince the other one to go to their side? That's not fair. We're talking about big things. Yes, people do it. Yes, fertility issues happen and stuff like that, but it's not fair to a person to say, you must either love me or you must not be with me because I'm not going to do whatever this thing is. You need to figure out what you want, and as soon as you find out that one person has a big stance on it, you need to figure out if that's a deal breaker for you. If it's just having a life love, the love of your life, whatever you want to call it, your soulmate, your person to walk through existence with. You still have to have commonalities, but you also have to have enough varying things to have those peaks and valleys so you can appreciate when you're not having issues. Because if everything is just get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, hang out, sit on the sofa, watch TV, go to bed, rinse, repeat. That's going to get boring really quickly. And that's one of those things where, like, you will get bored with your existence. They will get bored with their existence. They will be more likely to look for things that are entertaining, whether they're bad entertaining or good entertaining. People require a certain amount of stimulus. Everyone does. So you need to be solidly good by yourself, and they need to be solidly good by themselves, which is why I recommended all that other stuff I've already talked about numerous times. And then you guys need to have enough common interests that you have things to talk about, but you need to have enough varied interest where they can be the yin to your yang, and they can poke at you over stuff. I'm going to throw out an example because I'm a vehicle person. If they're a hardcore Ford person and you're a hardcore Chevy person, but you're both Catholic and you both want to go to church and you both want to have 12 children and you both agree on politics, so it's like money, and you both agree on how money should be spent, then those are the big things that can tear apart a relationship or, you know, make them solid, is money, children, religion, politics, and future pursuits. I think there's like 5 of them. So you hit all those. So you have those core values, or maybe, like, you know, you're Catholic and they're pagan, or you're Baptist and they're a Methodist, whatever, it doesn't matter. Then it's like, okay, I go to my church, you go to your church, or we go to my church this Sunday, next Sunday we go to the other one. Whatever you guys want to do, you know, you don't have to have all of those core values, but you have to have enough. And then you have to have enough varied interests where they can exist without you and you don't develop a codependency, because most of the time the codependency develops because they start cutting everyone else out of their lives. People get made into worse versions of themselves because of that. So you want someone that challenges you to evolve. Everyone's like, oh, you don't want to change for someone. You want to be yourself, don't change. Changing and evolving are two totally different things. If you evolve into being a better version of you with the assistance of your partner, and you can logically and rationally look at whatever the thing is and become a better person than you were because of that exposure that they had, or because they poked you enough about a certain thing that you recognize as a deficit, and they're trying to, you know, help you evolve into not having that deficit or having it be a smaller deficit, that's great, because that can be part of your peak and valley, and that's the best thing. And hopefully, and it should be, because otherwise one person ends up feeling like the parent won the child. It should be that you challenge them to evolve in a different area. Example being my husband and myself. My husband is a very, very social cat. He loves going out and talking and everything else. I like going out and talking to people too, but in my own little way. And he will drag me out to things that I do not want to go to, causing me to be a little uncomfortable, so I evolve and have that growth and that exposure of those things, and then he gets all excited and I get grumpy, and so there's a little bit of a valley there, and then the peak is, yay, I evolved. I do the same thing with him with mechanical stuff, or with other things that he would not want me to talk to you guys about. So that is a perfect example. Evolve with your partner or your prospective partner. Now, as far as how to meet somebody, I'm not really good about that. I think the online dating thing, for the mental exposure that I had from it, was good. I followed the rules, and I did not follow the rules when I did the online dating thing. I didn't put a picture out. I was very specific about what I was looking for. I was not looking for a life mate. I was actually just looking for a friend that was not involved in my life, so that I would, you know, I don't know, I was looking for like just a guy friend. Not like, you know, a friends with benefits friend, but just like a starting point of talking to someone and not going straight into romantic stuff. And so I think that's good. Or if you are a hobbyist and you really like a particular hobby, find out if there are those types of hobbies in your community. If there are not, then, you know, you can do some online
hobbies are not core values, but, you know, it's a starting point. Again, I'm not the person. I don't know. I have not been a serial dater. I've been more of a monogamous that just kind of had like some life explosions. So I can give you consistencies on, you know, if the person is worth it, or, you know, where you should be cognitively before you enter into a relationship, and how to end up getting into a happy relationship, making it happy. And that's the other thing that I can't stress enough, and I think I'm just going to use this as my final note. I'm going to try to find somewhere to turn around, is once you do find your prospective partner and you've done the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the 5 love languages and the need versus want and your big list of, you know, I want this, I need this, I can't stand this, I won't tolerate this, and you find the core values and everything else, and, you know, you have a couple peaks and valleys, don't let yourself plateau with that relationship. Don't do it. So every so often, even if you have to set an alarm on your phone, I challenge you. Oh wow, I've like done a whole loop and I didn't even know that. I challenge you to troubleshoot yourself and troubleshoot your partner every so often. So, you know, if it's once a month, once a quarter, don't do it once a year because that's way too much of a stretch. But just be like, you know what, am I happy? Am I happy now? If things were exactly the same a year from now, would I be happy? If things were exactly the same 5 years from now, would I be happy? If things were exactly the same in 10 years, would I be happy? 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. And if you can say no to things, sit down and have a relationship powwow with your significant other, your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, whatever, and say, you know what, I was thinking about this, and I think that maybe we should have, you know, goals on these things. Whether it's education, jobs, vacations, leisure time together, companion time, just a certain goal. You're a hobbyist and you really want to make an airplane that you could possibly ride in. I don't know. I'm trying to think of stuff off the top of my head here. Or you want to get into horseback riding. Or you want to be a scuba person and, you know, you need a budget for that kind of stuff. And so they're like, okay, well, you know, not spend as much money at Ross, and so we can make that passion and that dream turn into a reality. Or vice versa for them. Say they want to go back to school and like continue education. Okay, well, I won't buy as many tools for my model airplanes, and I'll, you know, sideboard my airplane that I can ride on for, you know, a year, so we can get that done. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about, because you also want to have enough of a separation that you don't become codependent, but you want to have enough of a joining of a journey together that you guys are fighting for the same team, the team being the two of you, or the two of you and little people that are also involved. And so you guys are conquering something together. And I think that's where I'm going to end it. So hopefully I covered a fair amount of things. If you guys want me to expound on any other stuff, or you have any other random things, shoot me some type of comment in any of the videos, this video, it doesn't matter to me. And I will try to assist, probably when I'm driving, because it's easier. However, it's messing up my whole jam out with my music thing, but then I guess I would be lost in my thoughts anyways, so just kind of talking out loud. So you guys have a fantastic evening. And I'm supposed to say like and subscribe. I really don't, it doesn't bother me if you do or you don't. Turns out that I don't know, the little algorithm thing says that I have 97% of my people aren't subscribed, but they keep coming back to my page. So I'm super confused by that. So, you know, whatever you guys want to do is fine with me. But have a great day and try to be the best version of yourself. And hopefully I'm helping you with something. If not, I'm just burning gas. But bye guys, see you next time.